listen, never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's nobody I'd rather talk to right now than Alonso Sarinana. Did I say that right? Come on. Did I come close?
You did, Bradford. You did a fantastic job.
Oh, well, listen. Alonso. Here we go. The adrenaline's rushing. This is the perfect time for us to talk because we're trying to lower the heart rate, this is the be-all, end-all game, I think, of the playoffs right now. The San Diego Padres versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. But the first thing is first, Alonso, and I want to just tell everybody that they should get used to the tone of your voice, your smiling face. You're going to be part of our family, doing a lot of great stuff, and we're going to announce down the road. We have so many talented people. We've come to know each other through the Bleed Lows podcast, and it's been great people there and great people across the board when it comes to just talking the great game of baseball, and you are at the top of the list. I'm so psyched to talk to you going forward, even more than we've already talked. And so anyway, that was quite an introduction, I know. But there's more introductions to come. I just want to say hello.
I feel like that was a little much, but I appreciate the hype. And again, I'm stoked that, like you said, I'm going to be joining the crew. Coming over. Hopefully, we're going to announce some stuff soon. Very appreciative of the kind words. Very humbled that you think that highly of me because I'm just a jabroni on the internet.
Believe me, I know jabronis on the internet. You are not a jabroni on the internet. You are one of the good ones. You are a voice which we need, and I value every word that's going to come out of your mouth. Not starting with today, before as well, but certainly today, because Alonso, like is said, I don't know what it is about the Dodgers and the Padres and this whole scene. And I'm so glad you're sort of in the belly of the beast and you know this, the what's what when it comes to this stuff. Like I know it from being dropped in once in a while. I know it from, the Godfather Joe Kelly. I know it from these guys. Like I know it from the bullpen of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know it from Xander Bogaerts or Dylan Cease or Luis Ariz, who I hope still carries around a baseballs and boring sticker in the back of his pocket. So I know it from these guys. But I want to ask you, Alonso, as we get ready for this game, just tell me, what is it like for you when you compare these two fan bases? I think it's the best, most exciting comparison of fan bases. I think that maybe in baseball, maybe I'm overstating, but what's your perspective of it?
No, I think currently in the space that we're in, I think you're right. Like it reminds me kind of like that Subway Series 2000 period where the Mets and the Yankees, there was a lot of vitriol. Obviously, it's before the internet, right? But it was just a bunch of just trash talking amongst the fan bases. Now it's enhanced with social media, right? And let me tell you what, man, the memes, the Instagram reels have all been on fire. If you do not follow Foos Gone Wild, please go follow them because they've just been killing it with the content that they've had for this series and calling it the Foos Gone Wild series. It's one of the best accounts on the internet. If you're a Latino, everything will make sense. If you're not a Latino, it all won't make sense, but go follow it because then you'll understand our shit talking a little better. But no, man, I think this series has had a little bit of everything, right? With Ballgate, as I'm calling it, with Manny Machado allegedly chucking a ball at Dave Roberts, and there was some back and forth there in the kind of the media availability with everybody. Mike Schilt clearly has got his guys back. Manny Machado kind of huddling the team in the dugout and just kind of being like, hey, let's get it together, go do this. Obviously, we saw the clobbering that happened in Game 4. And this is what it's kind of led up to, right? I feel like this is postseason baseball in its purest form, where you had an arms race, literally and figuratively, between two NL West foes that have spent a bunch of money to go out and acquire the best players that are available. And in my opinion, this is kind of exactly what you want. You have, a Yoshinobu Yamamoto, very expensive arm that the Dodgers went out and got this year, and Yu Darvish for the Padres, who they extended. Obviously, a legend in Japan. The first time with those two going against each other, it'll be the first postseason game in history between two Japanese-born starting pitchers. That's rad. You have the Dodgers potent lineup. Obviously, if you don't know who Shohei Ohtani is, I don't know why you're watching any of this that we're talking about, right? But you have your big three. They have their big three, and it's just kind of it's gonna be exactly what we want, right? It's fireworks. But from a fan base perspective, I think it's great because the memes have been great. Like this morning, I saw the legendary Sandy Koufax picture of him pointing to the scoreboard, and it just says "fuck the Padres" on the scoreboard. The mixtape stuff that comes up, like in my opinion, that's great. It's what baseball needs, because baseball, I mean, that's one of the reasons I'm stoked to join this platform, because as we've said all along, baseball isn't boring, baseball's fun, and this is exactly what it needs to be, is this sort of stuff. What I'm hoping for, obviously last night in that Royals Yankees game, we saw some fireworks with Volpe and a couple of those guys kind of getting into it. I'm not saying it needs to get to those levels, but this is the sort of competition that baseball needs to kind of get it where it needs to be, where you have, the game's biggest stars in a very high profile series going into it. And I think that's great for the game.
Oh, you need stare downs. I mean, if nothing else, you just need
Yes.
stare downs, right? It's funny. I was watching that Royals Yankees game, and you even had guys trying to stare down guys, and they weren't even successful. You'd have pitchers striking out guys, and the hitter would just be walking back, but he'd be, please look over at me. I want to stare you down. There's stare downs is part of the whole deal. And like, we should count how many stare downs there are. Not because I think that, the bench clearing thing, I mean, it just doesn't happen. But stare downs, you're going to get, I think let's play betting isn't boring. I will put the over-under on stare downs at 5.
That's a fair number. That's the number I was thinking.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I agree, I think this is one of those games where every kid kind of dreams of playing in a game like this in your backyard, right? Where obviously, when you're a little kid, you don't really sit there and say, like, I'm going to walk out there and I'm going to motherfuck the entire dugout. But there's going to be someone that's internally thinking, I'm going to motherfuck the entire dugout. And I mean, obviously, if Joe Kelly was in this game, obviously our friend is injured. Hopefully, wishing you a speedy recovery, Joe. But that's a guy that obviously you want something like that. But I will say this: what I noticed in game 4 from the Dodgers is there's an edge to this Dodgers team right now. They're going out there and you saw some people kind of alluding to it where, and I know it's proverbial, right? And it's no disrespect to where it's at. It's just where we're at in the game. To me, it seemed like, you know what? We're going to set the iPads down. We're just going to go out there and do and produce what this team can do offensively, defensively, and go out and do the thing. And I think that's great for not only for the Dodgers, but also on the Padres. I mean, you got punched in the mouth hard, like really hard. And now it's time to see if this offense can kind of respond to it. And they rocked Dylan Cease. There's no other way to put it. Dylan Cease got rocked. Yoshinobu Yamamoto got rocked the first game, right? And so these guys, we all know baseball players don't forget that stuff. And it's all hands on deck. I don't think we'll see Dylan Cease, but all these other guys that were in that game, they're not going to forget. And they got punched in the mouth. And we saw it yesterday in the clubhouse. The Dodgers had that quote from Kobe. The job's not finished. Kobe Bryant. I mean, they're
quote, by the way.
Jobless.
Great pull by them. I mean, great pull by them. But
and that's what it is, right? They're going back to what it is. You're going back to the fundamentals that got you to where you're at. And in my opinion, that's what this team needs to get that edge, to kind of have that edge going into this game 5.
Yeah, I would have Tom and Mansky, a big. I'm dating myself, but I would just have a big image of Tom and Mansky. But I want to go back to the so if you could describe the two fan bases, because I say this, it's funny because we talk a lot about the best ballpark to go to. And one of the most polarizing ones, obviously, honestly, is Dodger Stadium. Some people say it's old or whatever, and I say no, I love it because it's unique and also because of the fan base. It's a unique fan base. And then you have Petco, where obviously when you have a winery, it's going to be unique. And that's a solid fan base too. But for you, if you were going to say to someone, describe the two fan bases and the difference between the two, what would it be?
I would say the Dodgers. I mean, we obviously hear the analogy all the time, little brother, big brother, things like that, right? I wouldn't associate it to that. I would look at it as old school and new school. And what I mean by that is Dodger fan is like your old school kind of blue blood, right? And to use a term, obviously I work in college football. So to use that term, right, Alabama fans, Texas fans, even USC, Penn State fans, they've been there, right? They've been there. They've been at the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows, Rose Bowls, national championships, Cotton Bowls, all those things, right? And then you have these newer kind of programs that are kind of infiltrating those blue bloods. Obviously, there's a lot of realignment and stuff like that, so we're going to see non-traditional matchups. But in these kind of bigger games where it matters, we're seeing these newer schools. The San Diego Padres are kind of that bowl-busting team, right? That Boise State, that even in this case, biasly, the Utahs of the world that are kind of coming in and throwing their weight around in a different way because they have lesser than resources than some of these other programs, but they're slowly inching in and getting kind of closer to parity, if you will, with that. And I mean, Dontrell Willis has said this before. He said it, to me, he said it on the shows that I've done in the past. Listen, when you show up to the ballpark, those guys have Mercedes cars too, right? They have Bentleys, they have Rolls Royces. So it's there is a certain level of parity, but the Padres have shown their fan base that they want to win and they want to win now, right? And they've gone out and they've gotten Dylan Cease, right? They went out and they got Tanner. They went out and
they got a rise. I mean, in early May.
Yeah. I mean, they were aggressive. I mean, when that happened, when we all saw that happen in May, we're like, whoa, what's happening here, right? And the Dodgers have also been aggressive. I mean, they gave Shohei Ohtani $700 million.
Yes,
right?
Yes, they are the epitome of aggressiveness. But that's the great thing about it is that this is what it's kind of like. I was in New York and Philadelphia, and I felt like that series. What was great about it was that you had two owners hanging out, and John Middleton and Steve Cohen, and both of them, like, they just want to win. They're just spending money and they just want to win. And I think with the Padres and Dodgers, it's the same deal, right? And this is what has led. What that strategy has led. Yes, it's an imperfect world where everyone's screaming, how do you have an opener with this sort of payroll playing billions of dollars, whatever it is. But still, the fact of the matter is that because you've invested, you have these two rabid fan bases. And Padres, like, they have the biggest attendance of any team in baseball this year. You can't ignore that. And then you have the Dodgers, who have one of the most passionate followings, I think, in baseball. So you have those two dynamics, and that's what makes it awesome, which is everybody is invested in actually loving winning baseball games. That's it.
No, and listen, and when it comes to comparing fan bases, it's apples to oranges, right? Because they're both equally as passionate, and they're both equally open to just roasting each other in every facet of the word. And that's the beauty of the game, right? That's the beauty of fandom, is that they're able to do that. And I'll be honest, that environment in Game 4 was electric. And what the Dodgers did, they punched the Padres in the mouth, and the fans started pouring out of there, right? And we all heard it, right? When the tickets went on sale for the NLDS, they limited to who could buy them by the zip codes. Dodger fan was upset by that. And you know what? All is fair in love and war, right? Because the Dodgers now, they have an opportunity. The Dodger fans have an opportunity to not only make it just as a hostile, if not more hostile environment tonight with Game 5. It's going to be electric. Obviously, we all know what happened in Game 3, where people were throwing stuff on the field and they're getting into it with Jurickson Profar. In my opinion, it's kind of, obviously I don't condone players getting into fights with fans and stuff like that, but when you're gonna go after the players, you have to kind of make them uncomfortable as a visiting opponent, right? And they did that. They kind of threw them out of the groove, but the caveat is they punched the Dodgers right in the mouth, right? They ran up the bill on them. And the Dodgers didn't forget that. Let's not forget, they didn't forget that. They don't condone what the fans are doing, but they're also not going to forget what happened in that game where they got the bill ran up on them a little bit. So that's why I'm expecting an electric game tonight. The big thing that I'm curious to see, if I'm completely honest with you, is with Dylan Cease. I was shocked that Dylan Cease stayed out there as long as he did. That leash was a little longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm curious to see how long the leash is on Yamamoto, because we also have to remember he's a 25-year-old kid from Japan, that this is his first postseason experiencing all of this, of the attention on Ohtani, the attention on the team. It's a high-profile game. That's a lot to ask for a 25-year-old kid. Whatever he signed for is beside the point, because as a human, that's a lot to ask for a guy. Do I think he can step up to the moment? I'm hoping it does. I'm really hoping that first game is a learning experience, because you know better than I do, Bradfo, in the show is kind of where you get the learning on the job, if you will. And that was kind of his, hey, welcome to the postseason in Major League Baseball. This is very different here.
Yeah, my guess is a great points by you. And my guess is that both, when you talk about Darvish and Yamamoto, we aren't going to be seeing, hey, you get on my back, I'm going to pitch 8 innings sort of thing, even 7 innings. It's already, in this postseason, I tweeted this out this morning, the relievers have more innings than starters in the postseason, which is crazy. This is just how it is. And I think with these guys, it's going to be the same deal. It's, hey, if you give us 4, great. We're turning it over to Flaherty, whoever. That's just the idea that this is going to be this memorable, epic game by a starting pitcher. These starting pitchers in this game is to keep your team in the game for 4 innings and then go from there. That's it.
Yes.
But,
no, and listen, the Dodgers had success against the starters for the Padres. They did not have success against that bullpen until Game 4. And so that, obviously, as a hitter, they're going to go into it with all the confidence in the world, right? And let's also not forget, that was without Freddie Freeman, that was without Miguel Rojas, and you still went out and obviously they still have thoroughbreds on the field, right? Let's not diminish the value of Ohtani and Mookie Betts leading off everything with that lineup. But Kike Hernandez had a massive game for the Dodgers. That's the reason why the Dodgers brought him back, just exactly for what happened. And I'm expecting Kike to play again, and I'm expecting him to just be locked in and do that as well. And listen, again, Tatis has been on fire, and it's been so fun to watch that guy. I'm not a Tatis guy, but it's cool when an elite guy is stepping up to the plate and doing exactly what you paid him all that money to do. And especially with his kind of history over the last couple of years, that's fantastic for San Diego fans. That's why I'm just expecting a heavyweight knockout fight the entire game. And I really hope the game is just back and forth. I don't really necessarily want it to be a drubbing, but if it is, obviously, we have to have the Dodgers win by 8 again, right?
Yeah, well, listen, business is business.
Right?
The man who owns the LLC, it'd be nice to see him pitch in the World Series. So,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right. Well, listen, you got my heart racing, my blood pumping. I appreciate it, Alonso. And I look forward to talking to you a lot and hearing from you a lot. So it's going to be great. I really appreciate everything that you do.
No, hey, man, and I appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to getting to know the Baseball Isn't Boring fans. I look forward to engaging with you all. Please follow me on Instagram or I call it Twitter. It's Twitter as far as I'm concerned, at Instagram or at my government name, Alonso Sarinana on Twitter. I look forward to chatting with you all up, and the DMs are open. Let's talk some shit.
Let's go. Let's talk some shit. Awesome. All right, man.